Imagine the softest little house cat you've ever seen. One who's never left the comfort of his plush bed, being thrown into the heart of a brutal jungle with no way out. It's a $10,000 challenge, but is survival even possible for Max, a city kitten who's terrified of his own reflection? We're about to see what happens when this pampered kitty is forced to face life-or-death dangers he's never imagined. Will Max rise to the challenge, or will the jungle break his spirit completely? You won't believe what happens next. Alright, here's Max's story. Max isn't just any cat. He's spoiled beyond belief. The kind of kitty who spends his days lying on a velvet pillow, staring at the birds outside his window but never daring to go near them. He's a lover of belly rubs, gourmet snacks, and his biggest enemy, the vacuum cleaner. He's never known a day of hardship or danger. But today, Max's whole world is about to change. He's being whisked away to a place that couldn't be more different from his safe little home. A dense jungle full of strange sounds, mysterious creatures, and challenges he's never faced. And why? Because someone has placed a $10,000 bet to see if Max, a creature who's never even caught a mouse, can survive 24 hours in the wild. Max has no idea what's coming. All he knows is that he'll have to rely on instincts he didn't even know he had. If he has them at all. Is this cute little furball about to find his inner wild cat? Or is he going to crumble in the face of the unknown? The challenge is straightforward on paper. Survive the next 24 hours in the jungle. But for Max, it might as well be a death sentence. As soon as he steps into the thick, shadowy forest, he realizes he's completely out of his element. Every sound, every flicker of movement sends his heart racing. The trees loom over him like silent giants, the ground is littered with strange textures, and the air is thick with smells he can't make sense of. Max has never felt this small, this vulnerable, and then he hears it, a rustling in the bushes. Max's eyes grow wide as Saucer, his fur standing on end. Is it a predator? Another animal like him? He doesn't know. All he knows is that he's alone, and he feels his courage slipping away. His stomach growls, but he has no idea how to find food in this place. He looks around, desperate for a sign of something familiar, something comforting. But all he sees is wilderness. This isn't just a challenge for money anymore. It's survival in its rawest form. Max is just a small, defenseless cat in a world that was never meant for him. And the longer he stays, the clearer it becomes. This jungle isn't about to show him any mercy. Can he make it through the night? Or will he become just another lost soul in the unforgiving wild? Max stumbles forward, paws sinking into the damp, tangled jungle floor. He glances nervously over his shoulder, convinced that something or someone is watching him. Every rustle, every chirp of a hidden creature feels like a threat. His soft, comfortable world has vanished, replaced by endless green shadows and noises that chill him to his core. He stops at a small clearing, where a trickle of water winds through a bed of smooth stones. Parched from fear, Max bends to lap up a drink, but then he catches a glimpse of his reflection in the water. His fur is wild, his eyes wide with terror. Is this really him? The once proud, pampered house cat now looks like a scared stray. He recoils from his own reflection, his little heart hammering in his chest. He has to find food, or at least some shelter. But the jungle has no sympathy for city cats. Max stumbles across a berry bush, eyes lighting up with hope. The berries glisten temptingly, and he's so hungry that he can barely think. Just as he's about to bite into one, he remembers the stories his humans used to tell him, the ones about dangerous plants and berries that could hurt even a big animal. He pulls back, his stomach aching, the hunger gnawing at him, but the fear of eating something dangerous gnawing even harder. Max presses on, the jungle closing in tighter with every step. His paws ache from stepping on rocks, sticks, and thorny plants he's never seen before. And then, as he climbs over a fallen log, he freezes. Just ahead, a snake coils on a rock, its eyes watching him with an intensity that makes Max's fur stand on end. The snake hisses, and Max's instincts scream at him to run, but his legs feel like they're glued to the spot. Suddenly, the snake darts toward him, and Max barely leaps out of the way, tumbling down a small slope and landing in a bed of damp leaves. His heart races, and his paws tremble. How much more can he take? He's just a house cat, and yet here he is, fighting to survive in a place that doesn't care if he lives or dies. As he lies there, catching his breath, he hears a new sound, a soft mewing from somewhere nearby. He raises his head, ears twitching. Could it be another cat? He crawls forward, following the sound through the underbrush until he spots a tiny kitten trapped in a tangle of vines. Max's heart aches at the sight. The kitten's eyes are wide with fear, and she's so small, so fragile. He knows what he has to do. Gingerly, Max uses his claws to pull the vines away, freeing the tiny kitten. She scrambles to her feet and presses close to him, her tiny body trembling. For a moment, Max feels something he hasn't felt since he got here: purpose. This little kitten needs him, depends on him. In that moment, his fear melts away, replaced by a fierce determination. They move together, Max leading the way, careful to avoid every snake, thorn, and dangerous plant. The kitten's trust in him seems to give him strength, and step by step, he starts to feel like maybe, just maybe, he can do this. The jungle is still terrifying, but with someone depending on him, he feels braver than he ever has. As night falls, the jungle transforms into a symphony of eerie sounds. Max and the kitten huddle together beneath a bush, shivering as they hear distant roars and howls. Just when he thinks he can't take it anymore, a heavy rain starts to pour, soaking them to the bone. Max curls himself around the kitten, trying to keep her warm. His own body shakes from the cold, but he doesn't move, doesn't let go. The kitten clings to him, her small body pressed against his. In that moment, Max realizes just how far he's come from the spoiled house cat he used to be. Morning finally comes, and they start to move again. But now Max feels weak from hunger. His paws hurt, his fur is matted, and he's exhausted. But when he looks down at the little kitten, her wide eyes watching him with complete trust, he knows he can't give up. He's her protector now, and somehow that thought gives him the energy to keep going. Just when he thinks he can't go another step, he hears a faint sound, the buzzing of an engine. His ears perk up, and he scrambles to higher ground with the kitten by his side. They reach a clearing, and there it is, a rescue team. People in uniforms are combing the jungle, calling out, searching. With the last of his strength, Max lets out a loud, desperate meow, and one of the rescuers turns. Within moments, they're scooped up, safe at last. Max feels his eyelids grow heavy, but before he drifts off, he looks down at the kitten one last time, a sense of peace washing over him. He did it. He survived the jungle, not just for himself, but for this little life he saved along the way. As Max falls into a deep sleep, the rescuers marvel at the unlikely survivor, a house cat who braved the wild, protected a tiny life, and found strength he never knew he had. For Max, this journey has changed him forever. He's no longer just a pampered pet, he's a hero, a survivor, and in his own way, a legend. As the rescuers carry Max and the tiny kitten to safety, a sudden crack of thunder shakes the sky, and dark clouds gather overhead. Just when they think they're in the clear, rain begins to pour down in torrents, turning the ground to mud and making every step treacherous. Max's heart races as he clings to the rescuer's shoulder, the tiny kitten trembling beside him. Lightning flashes, illuminating the jungle one last time, and Max realizes how close he came to being lost forever in this wilderness. Then, in a flash of inspiration, Max lets out one last powerful meow, as if to say, "I made it. I fought, I survived, and I'm going home." The rescuers smile, moved by the courage of this little cat who defied all odds. In that moment, Max understands the strength he never knew he had. Through every fear, every moment of doubt, he found courage he never imagined. And now, he's going home with a friend by his side. Back in the safety of his warm home, Max curls up beside the kitten, who's now his loyal companion. Gone is the soft, timid house cat who feared even a shadow. Max has returned with a new spark in his eyes, a bravery forged in the wild. Every sound, every shadow, no longer brings fear, but a memory of his time in the jungle, a reminder of his resilience and strength. Max's family notices the change, seeing the proud, confident cat he's become. And as he sits by the window, watching the world outside, he knows that he's no longer the same. He survived the impossible and learned the power of his own heart. The jungle might be far behind him, but its lessons stay with him forever. Max, the hero who rose to the challenge, is here to stay. If Max's journey touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe for more stories of courage and friendship. And hey, if you're curious about what adventure awaits next, click on the next video. Max isn't the only hero around here. There are more stories to come. Join us and never miss a new adventure.